Hey nerds!
Hey nerds!
Special occasion today, we got reached out to by an indie developer about their new upcoming tabletop RPG, Run from the Dark. They sent us an advanced copy of the book and asked us if we wouldn't do a little review and rundown of what it's all about. First of all, it passes Seth's test of it has a map right in the front.
Oh, it passes the map test!
So you get the map, which is really cool. It's sort of like it could be a post-apocalyptic setting, but it could also be an Earth-adjacent setting or any number of things. Like there are gun mechanics, but you also have cool swords and hedge witches.
You can be a hedge witch, which... Yes. The second I saw that, I was like, 100%.
I was like, that's Rebecca's class, for
yes,
sure.
Hedge witch.
Yeah.
Me and a lot of my friends.
Everyone, you and everyone you hang out with. The central world revolves around this concept of the dark that you are
running from. You're running from.
I mean, you're running into it as well.
You have to run into it, and you also have to run out of it.
The players play as walkers who are the intrepid folk who must make these ventures out into... They venture forth into the dark.
For various reasons. I mean, and your
conduct
class...
trade, establish trade routes.
Your class would really help identify why you would need to make these treks into the woods. But essentially, you're from these small towns, and they're all surrounded by woods. So in order to connect... And dark. So in order to connect these towns, you have to go through the dark.
They will have to contend with a cool survival feature called The Darkness Within.
If you're familiar with other TTRPG systems, similar to like Alien or other things like that that have panic or stress mechanics, it's very similar to that. Like you are going to get darkness. It's a survival horror mechanic.
There are certain class features that when you use them, you take on a point. It's called The Darkness Within.
Yes.
And basically it's a scale from 1 to 10, where once you hit 10, you are forever lost to the darkness.
Well, not
and you
forever.
become an Theanad? What was it? Hang on.
Theanide.
Theanide.
I'm not saying that right. It's a Welsh word. It means the soulless. Players all walk around the environment with their sources of light. This is a very specific reference, but if you ever played Crystal Chronicles, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for the Nintendo GameCube, it's like the miasma. Like darkness effectively functions like the miasma. Hopefully I can find a clip to put here. You have to carry a lantern that will shield you from the darkness, and if you don't, you will take Darkness Within as well. And so you also have to maintain your lantern. So if your lantern is a torch, you have to maintain the fuel for that torch. If you're from a certain kind of community, you have like glow flies as your lantern, and that has a different mechanic for how
Part of character creation is picking your light source. So it is a very fun, it's a very personalizable and intimate kind of choice that you can do, and you can build a lot of backstory towards your light source. It becomes a very integral part of your kit.
They use a system that many of you will be pretty familiar with. The Watcher sets a difficulty rating, a DR, and the players must beat that rating in order to accomplish the task. And they do it by rolling a d20. You add your personal ability, which if you play D&D, that would be something like your ability score. And then you would also add your skill level. So that's effectively your proficiency bonus in D&D.
And they have a fun chart in the system of what are you trained at this? Are you an expert at this? Or are you
an amateur?
Yeah,
depending on your level of efficiency or proficiency, you will have negatives sometimes to those as well. Yeah. If you spend 2 days outside of a town, you just take a darkness point. And so you are constantly in a race against time to not become an Theanad.
And there are mechanics to relieve darkness as well, and different classes have different mechanics as well to how that might work.
I've always wanted to add some kind of element to Dungeons and Dragons to simulate what happens in Dark Souls, where there's hollowing. In Dark Souls, you become less and less human the more hollow you become, and then eventually when you're full hollow, you go crazy. And this is very much cut from the same cloth and a good system for that kind of mechanic too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it has that same grimdark feeling.
That feeling, and but it's also very structured. It doesn't feel arbitrary, which I really like. I honestly this is my genuine, authentic opinion. Every page of this book I turned, I was like, that's cool. I was like, oh, that's cool. I really, I'm a big fan.
This is all up Shane's alley though. If you like horror, if you like spookiness, if you like
Look at that boy.
If you like He's the Universe.
Look at this boy. His teeth don't make any sense.
He looks like an anglerfish. Tell me he doesn't look like an anglerfish.
My man, his teeth go out like this. He's awesome.
Do you want to talk about the travel mechanics a little bit?
There's an established setting in this book, and a really cool, a handy dandy notebook chart that gives you a number of days it takes for predictable travel.
Like we said, there was a map at the start of the book, so it's not like these are arbitrary places. These are how to get from this
They're
place
definitive.
to this place, and that's a
But
nice...
I do think like you could very easily repurpose this and do whatever you want with that element of it.
Sure, but the point is that if you are like new to being a game master or a watcher, this gives you a lot of tools to help manage that.
They have even on the book jacket. There's you got your little travel chart.
It's almost like the book jacket could become a DM screen or a GM screen, and that's very charming.
You decide how many days it's going to take, and then based on
the time of the year,
time of the year, which is super fun.
Yeah.
The way that seasons work is there's no definitive amount of like days that a season lasts. It's about the relationship with the darkness, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So when the darkness dissipates, it's considered summer because like you've just got like a brief period of time where like travel is easier and you're less likely to become a freaking monster in the woods.
Because there's less darkness, because it's lighter.
But like summer could be like a week long, and now it's winter, and you're in big trouble because you're going to become a soulless. Within the travel mechanics, they are very specific about something that we talk about a lot in Venture Forth, which is you don't necessarily want to go through every lugubrious portion, every footfall in the woods, even though it's a survival setting, right? Instead, it's broken up into encounters, and they break them down into hopeful, horrifying, and harrowing. It's not all bleak, and it even recommends that you try to vary it up because that is more true to life and not just a random encounter generator, right? You really want to create a world that feels full and true.
Yeah.
And
well,
so sometimes,
and you want endless replayability, right? So you don't want every single time you go into the darkness to be the same. You don't want it always to be horrifying or harrowing.
Well, because you're just going to become numb.
You're going to become numb. So you want there to be like maybe this will just be like a hopeful little journey.
And also there's a really cool ethos to the book overall, which is that like being hopeful is an essential part of being the battle against the darkness. We talk a lot about how Dungeons and Dragons is like a power fantasy, and this isn't exactly that. Mm-hmm. This has much more of that grimdark element where it might all be futile at the end of the day.
Yes.
But there is that little kernel, that little seed of hope that I think a lot of us can really relate to right now.
So essentially, when you're building a character, you would pick from one of 8 classes that are in the book.
They're so cool.
They're very cool. You can be a scholar, a storyteller, a light carrier, a hunter, a hedge witch, the reignited, shifters, or makers.
So one that stuck out to me, of course, was the storyteller.
Of course.
Which is the like sort of like bard class.
Yes.
But it's also like the historian, and like one of their features is like they can sing a song at the campfire to, I think you can remove, let me double check this. I think you can remove darkness.
Yeah.
At a fire, the storyteller can tell a tale. On completing their story, all those who heard it may remove 1d4 darkness within, which is really strong.
It's really strong. So if you've been traveling for a couple of days.
The storyteller may ask the watcher one question about the story, and the watcher must answer this question, but can be obtuse in their answers. So you make up a story on the spot, which I love to do. And then you can be like, GM, was that, like, what portion of that was true? You now have a really collaborative moment with your game master, with your watcher, of lore that is now established in the world. And you remove darkness.
One thing I really like about the Hedge Witch class is that not only is it kind of like the witchy class or like the druidic class, but it also weaves that into their mechanics. So for example, the Hedge Witch can predict the dark, so they can make a nature magic skills test with their d20 to determine when the dark will return. Because it's not just a like night and day mechanic, just like travel, just like summer and winter isn't like this is how many months summer is and this is how many months winter is. So this allows you to predict how long you will be safe for and what timing you have to do the tasks you need to do.
Yeah, Hedge Witches make really good wayfinders. So like when you go traveling, somebody has to make a wayfinder test, and that establishes whether you get completely lost or whether you make good time on your adventure. Yeah. The combat system is fairly unique. It's, I think, very player-focused because the creatures all have their own difficulty rating.
Yes.
And that's how you define every check against them. Like, they don't roll to attack. They make an attack, and then the player chooses how they respond to it. And then based on what the player does, so let's say my creature swings its claws at Rebecca's character, Rebecca can choose to take the damage, but attack back, do a reaction attack, or she can try to parry it, or she can use a class feature that might have some kind of other penalty, but might let her do something cool.
And basically, you always get to make that choice. Like it's the reaction is that you always can do that.
You don't expend your reaction to do that. You always have something that you do when you are attacked.
So even if you've got multiple monsters attacking the party, if you get attacked multiple times in that same round, you can still react to it. And whether that's to parry it or to take the damage and attack back, that's your choice.
When I first read that system, I got kind of nervous because I was like, oh no, are we not going to get to roll damage? Because there's a lot of systems like this where they're just like, a hit is a hit and that's all.
Yes.
But no, you still get to roll damage, and your weapons have different damage numbers, and
and there are like
fun.
Weapons specialized to like this book has a bunch of weapons that are already like
it's got
fit for
so
classes
many magic items
that are fit for your class, that are fun to have. So it's a really cool, like they've really thought a lot about what to put in this.
If you're like me and you want to have a lot of different like resources from a system, I know there are source books that I've read where I've been like, there's not enough in here. I don't know. I'm gonna have to adapt some other stuff to like actually make an adventure out of this. There is enough. there is like over 100 NPCs. There's like 40 monsters that all have really, really cool artwork and
tons of skills and backgrounds, and like there's a memory mechanic and fears, and they're all in the system already. You can obviously there's ways to make your own, but there's a lot of material in the book that you can use.
So there's not death saving throws, if you're familiar with D&D, that you would do when your character drops to 0 hit points. Instead, you get an injury, and you roll on an injury table, and there is cut or crush injuries, and if you get all of them on one table, if you collect them all, you die.
This is one where you don't want to collect them all.
Stop collecting them all.
And they get worse and worse and worse, so it's like...
Depending on how high you roll, though. That's the thing, is you could get a really bad wound, a really bad injury, like right away.
They basically like span the gamut from abrasions all the way to like arterial bleeding. But you do have to like get all of them. To die.
No, that's just one. That's just one of many ways.
Many ways to die.
Because some of these injuries, if left untreated, will kill you.
Yes.
So instead of rolling on your death saves, you have an injury, and maybe you have to get it treated. Maybe you just have to wait and like let it heal on its own.
There's like days it will take to heal. Like it lists how long it will take to heal this. So for example, it'll say like, oh yeah, you're gonna die in this many minutes if it's not fixed.
From a punctured abdomen, you have 1d6 minutes before you die.
So hopefully someone in your party knows how to
unpuncture that abdomen, would you?
Fix you.
Could you? And if you take any additional damage after you're down to 0 HP, you get another injury.
Yes.
So it can escalate really quickly.
It absolutely can. For like arterial bleeding, it's 1d6 rounds, and the rounds are still short seconds. So like you might die in like 2 rounds.
Yep.
Hope you don't roll a 1.
That's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of all the like cool mechanical elements of this.
There's a lot of mechanical elements.
It's fairly easy to jump into and not know everything and find your way through it, I think. It's very adaptable to systems you're already familiar with. Yeah. Their Kickstarter for this launches October 28th. So if this sounds cool to you and you want to get some cool perks, like the limited edition book, and they have, I believe they're going to do like plushies of the Saglets, which are these little, they're basically like if a Labubu were actually cute. And they're like little forest spirits. And one of the like hopeful encounters that you can do is like a staglet comes by and helps you find something in a tree. And if you are like lost in the darkness, there's a lantern staglet with the little,
so cute. It's a little lantern.
That's another anglerfish reference for you.
Yep.
And the lantern staglet, like what they do is they go find people who are lost in the darkness and they escort them back to the town.
Don't you want a plushie?
I want one. I for sure do. Oh my God, I do. Jesus. I want a plushie of this guy too, though.
What's the opposite of plushie? That's what you want of that guy. A spiky?
A spiky.
Check out their Kickstarter. It's a really, really cool system. It's a really cool setting if you want to use it as a setting. And it's made by some really cool people. It's
by Will R.D., who is a Welsh creator. You can feel very much the personality and the
ethos.
The ethos, and that, I mean, there's such a clear perspective in the way that this is written, and in certain sections of the book I don't want to spoil. But yeah, really, it's a really like personal touch, and I think that is something that like you're not going to find in your bigger developers.
It's
because of it's designed by committee, and so this is something totally special to independent development.
It feels very authentic to like Welsh folklore.
I cannot pronounce any of the names of these creatures or towns. And thankfully they provide translations, but it's crazy and
it's
cool.
It's fun. It's a really fun, and it feels authentic when you're reading it and playing it. So it's like it's got that added level of the lore and like of the folkloreness of it. It feels very, very authentic.
So check that out, October 28th. Our official review is that it's super cool and interesting, and that I would love to play it.
And then I can't wait to play it.
Yeah. Check it out, October 28th on, I was about to say Patreon.
Kickstarter.
And big thanks to Run From the Dark for sending this our way and including us on this. It's really cool.
Thanks. I can't wait to play it. Also, we want those plushies.